My name is Dr. Amanda Wilson, and I'm here today with an awesome panel of dentists, orthodontists, people in the dental industry, people in the dental manufacturing industry, people in the dental lab industry, and people in the marketing industry for dentists. Here to help you get started with $15 in-house aligners or outsourcing your manufacturing to create white label aligners. We are going to have an incredible presentation today from tons of experts in our community. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panelists. We have 4 groups of panelists today, so they're all going to jump on right now and give us a quick intro, who they are. So let me go ahead and go in order of who is speaking today for a quick introduction. We're going to go ahead and start with my good friend, Dr. Damian Fisher. He's an orthodontist from Atlanta, Georgia. He's going to give us a quick 30-second intro of what he's going to be talking about today. And then we'll go ahead and go to our next speaker. Damian, go ahead.
Thank you, Amanda. Guys, good afternoon. I really am happy to be here. My name is Damian Fisher. I'm an orthodontist in the Atlanta metropolitan area. So today I'm going to be speaking about white label aligners. And hopefully I can share some things with you guys that you can use.
Great, thanks so much, Dr. Fisher. And I met Dr. Fisher at an AAO conference like a good 5 years ago. So we've been buddies ever since. Next, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mike and Manny. They are from 2 companies. One's called Yankee Tech Digital, and the other one is called Clear Moves, and they know everything about the tech side of making aligners. Go ahead, Mike and Manny, and give us a brief intro of what you'll be talking about today.
Hello, thank you. My name is Manny Ramirez. I'm VP of Technology for Yankee Tech Digital, and I have my business partner here, Michael Kennedy. Michael, introduce yourself.
Mike Kennedy, I do sales and marketing for Clear Moves and Yankee Tech Digital. And so basically today we're going to go over what Yankee Tech Digital does in the marketplace as far as what products that we offer. And then we also offer a clear aligner system for doctors out there that are looking for, maybe not in-house, but to outsource their system.
That's great. Thank you so much. And then next we have Dr. Doug Moorhead and Phil with Moorhead Dentistry, as well as Smile More Aligners and gporthotracking.com. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Moorhead. I'm a general dentist in Cincinnati, Ohio. And a couple years ago, we started doing an in-house version of clear aligners we called Smile More, as Amanda said. And we also developed a software to help keep track of patients and their compliance, as well as just how well the aligners are tracking. And so this is also Phil Michael, who's also a co-founder of GP Ortho Tracking, and that's what we'll be talking about today.
Awesome, thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, we have Jonathan Schlossberg with Good Marketing, and he is amazing with Facebook marketing and getting the word out. He knows aligners backwards and forwards, which is why I wanted to bring him in, because he understands orthodontics and getting the word out to patients to bring them in your office. So Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Amanda. That was so kind, and you pretty much said everything. I'm kind of the outlier here. I don't help you fix your teeth or do any of that stuff, but what I do is I help fill your chairs with people so you can continually fix teeth. And I will go more into it later, but I'm really excited to learn what everybody has here to say and to provide you all with some knowledge and information on why marketing is so important. And I'll give you some stuff that is actionable, and then you can walk away with and actually put into your business to start helping you this week. So thank you again.
Fantastic. All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick intro so you guys can know a little bit more about what white label aligners are, just in case you've never done that before. So as you know, most of you might know who I am. My name's Amanda. I'm an orthodontist practicing, goodness, we're going almost on 20 years now. I don't feel like I'm that old. But for the last, about 7 or 8, I've been actually doing product development and consulting. Right now, I own StraightSmile Solutions. It's an orthodontic consulting company. Kind of fell into this. My husband's a general dentist, if you haven't heard my story. Initially, when I was practicing exclusively, I was kind of against general dentists doing ortho. I was like, oh, they're going to screw it up. But then he started doing it and his friends started doing it, and they were really careful about what cases they took. They knew that they had limitations, and they were like, can you help us? And initially that was helping them just with their Invisalign and then Clear Correct. And then it turned into clear aligners and braces and 6-month smiles and phase 1. And it just kind of turned into a full-time gig, which has been fantastic because I have, well, they're now 2 teenage kids, but they're really active. And for me, just personally, my personal story, if you haven't heard it, it was really hard having 2 clinicians in the house. Every time it was a sick kid or someone had a play at school, it was always like, who's got the least production on the schedule today, or who's canceling their patients? And it was hard. I'll be honest. It was really, really hard. So I said, you know what, I'll take a more passive role, have a little more flexibility. Cool thing is I live in Honolulu, Hawaii. So my day starts about 4 a.m. my time, but I can be in my pajamas, as many of you know. And I'm done about 1 or 2 my time, which is fantastic because I'm super engaged in my kids' activities in the afternoon. I do a lot of community service, and I feel like I have the best of both worlds, and I get to travel when my kids travel for sports events. So, and my work comes with me, but that's me. So anyways, if you have any questions, I really open up my lines for any questions. If you want to contact me, I'm glad to help you with anything that you need. No matter if you're an orthodontist, a general dentist, or in the lab industry, there's my contact information. So the why behind all this, basically for general dentists at least, which is kind of the bulk of my clients, general and pediatric dentists, is kind of the more ortho you do, you know, especially easy ortho, the more of whatever you really want to do. So whether that be implants or cosmetic work, and you can do a better job at it, right? Because we can align the teeth over the bone. We can get the right angles and contours so that you can do the best and most stable long-term restorative work. So that's the why behind it. What are some of the pain points that come up? I mean, of course, initially you've got people are freaked out because they look at these GP ortho classes that are expensive. You have to travel, you have to buy a lot of equipment. That's not necessarily true. We're going to talk a lot about that today. A lot of other people are concerned about upsetting their friends. They like that fruit basket they get every Christmas time, you know. Listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. The doctors that I work with, for the most part, they refer even more cases out than they ever did before, because they're just screening more patients, right? And of course, inefficiency and margins. A lot of general dentists struggle with a ton of revisions, refinements, mid-course corrections. They're not necessarily needed. And that's part of the reason we're gonna be talking about GP ortho tracking today, dental monitoring today, and what both Dr. Moorhead and Dr. Fisher are doing in their practices to have great outcomes and to try to have as few appointments as possible, which patients want. I mean, we all know what's going on in the direct-to-consumer aligner industry. Patients want, you know, they want tech, they want convenience. So it changes a little bit about how we practice, and that's fine. So I usually recommend that all general and pediatric dentists do 3 different buckets of different types of orthodontics, a little bit of phase 1, a little bit of braces, and a little bit of aligners. And if you've got questions about that. Okay. So today we're going to be focusing for the most part on just aligners. We're going to be talking about not only traditional methods of aligners, which is your Invisalign, your Clear Correct, and basically this can be time consuming, especially if you do not have an intraoral scanner. It can take upwards, over a month for your aligners to arrive. Both Dr. Moorhead and Dr. Fisher are delivering their aligners same day, scanning and delivering same day, which is pretty incredible. What an amazing way to sell a case, right? So that's branded aligners, but we're also going to be talking about white label aligners. And everybody knows the lab fees on your Invisalign and Clear Correct are pretty expensive, like really expensive, compared to really what it costs them, which I can tell you more about that later. And you'll find out, you know, what you can do if you want to do in-house. White label is often the way to go. No, you cannot do everything. And I'm sure, again, Dr. Fisher and Dr. Moorhead will talk about what type of cases they don't use white label on. But you can spin these around. Even if you have no equipment at all, you can still spin this around in less than 2 weeks. And if you do have the equipment in-house, you can do it same day. So that's pretty incredible. So we're going to be talking about white label design companies. That's a component of the white label aligner process. I work with 4 major companies, but then also I do work with ClearMove, so I probably need to update this graphic to include them. Sorry about that, guys. But they're fantastic too. They kind of package it all together for you. So the key is picking the right company. If you'd like an intro, let me know. I'll be glad to introduce you. Again, another key to success is going to be aligner tracking. We're going to be talking more specifically to Dr. Moorhead and Phil about gporthotracking.com and how this can help your cases just be so much better and get done so much quicker, better patient satisfaction, better outcomes. So again, here's my contact information. Enough about me. You guys have heard of me before. I'm going to go ahead and stop share, and I'm going to go ahead and pass this over.
Again, welcome everybody. Thank you, Amanda, for having us today and putting this all together. I'm really excited about sharing some things that I'm doing in my offices as it relates to white label aligners. I'm going to first start off with a presentation, a quick presentation to give you just a basic knowledge of how I got started with white label aligners. I started using aligners, of course. I started using aligners back in like 2001, Amanda, when I was first out of residency, and I think my first case was an Invisalign case. As a matter of fact, it was an Invisalign case, and in the years since, I've used numerous aligner systems, including ClearCorrect and the various others. Up until around 2015, everyone, I believe that I had gained an extensive knowledge of aligner therapy. I had treated almost 800 cases, and I was comfortable using aligners to treat a wide range of orthodontic problems. However, in my private practice, I'd always struggled with increasing aligner share per chair. I believe this fundamental inability was due to me finding creative ways to integrate aligners into my practice. For whatever reason, I just could not increase the share per chair for aligners. I mean, you have some financial things that can prevent you from getting there, and just a lot of various things that can prevent you from increasing that. But I had a change of mind. I had to get confident in trying to bring an affordable and predictable aligner treatment to for my patients in my office. So I embarked on creating an in-house white label aligner system. So in order to do that, I had to gain or get all of the tools that were necessary to bring this to fruition for my patients. I purchased an intraoral scanner from a buddy who was actually upgrading to a newer model, and I bought tooth movement software. I ended up selling out with StraightSmile Ortho, and I love their setup and the functionality of their software. And then I had to look for 3D printers. Once I got the 3D printers, of course, it was a learning curve that I had to learn in terms of manufacturing and so forth. But that was, it just took me a little bit of time to do that. Eventually, I was able to create a custom clear aligner. I'd like to say an aligner system. I created an aligner system for my patients. And I'll explain that a little bit later. So in 2017, all of this came about in about 2017. All the components came together about 2017. That year, about 20 to 25% of the case starts in my office were aligner starts. I really jumped in with both 2 feet, and we really ramped it up. So I was really proud of that. And to date, about 3 to 4 years later, we're about 40% share per chair of aligners in my office currently. So that is really gone well. I developed a aligner system that's been well received by patients. Our in-house aligner program is going extremely well. To date, we've treated nearly 300 cases ranging from comprehensive to phase 1. And I'm also extremely pleased with the clinical results that we're getting. So there's a couple of different models. Let's just look at the different models that we have when we talk about white label aligners. You have your do-it-yourself or your DIY. You'll need for that model, you'll need a scanner like we said before, your tooth movement software. There's tons of options out here on the market for tooth movement software. Like again, I use StraightSmile, but I'm also looking at Motion View as an option as well. 3D printers, I started out using Formlabs. Formlabs printers are very well. They're a workhorse when it comes to production. Very little maintenance required for them. But I've recently bought a Sprint Ray, and the Sprint Ray is actually performing well for us too. So, and then of course you'll have to use your lab equipment that you'll need to create the actual line. And then there's the outsource model. The outsource model, you'll need a couple of things. You'll need the only thing that you'll really need in your office is a scanner. So, you know, you can choose the Itero. I have an Itero. I also had a Medit i500, which is a really good scanner. We're loving it, and it's giving us some really good scans. The other component that you'll need for your for the outsource model will be your digital setup. The digital setup can be produced by a couple of companies. You can outsource that to have them produce that. StraightSmile again can give you a treatment setup that you can use, and then also Full Contour, a company called Full Contour can give you that as well. And then you'll need a liner fabrication company that can either make your models or at the same time make your aligners as well. Voodoo is a company that I've recently started looking at for my aligner fabrication, and we're giving them a serious look. StraightSmile can do it as well. They can actually create your aligners and mail them to your office for delivery. So when after 3 years or more, of course, I had to take some introspective, I guess you would call it, thought, and have to sit back and look at, you know, am I being efficient using a DIY model versus an outsourced model? And I've started to look at the pros and cons of each model. I'll share with you a few of them. So with the DIY, of course, you are looking at a long learning curve. It probably took me at least 3 months to really efficiently learn how to use the StraightSmile software. There's a lot of technical functionality that's leveraged in this software, that you can leverage in this software to create really efficient aligners, but it does take a lot of time to learn. So there's a big time expense, and I invested that time. It was something that I really was passionate about, and I was really curious about it. So I invested the time, and I learned how to do a tooth movement setup pretty quickly. So now it takes me about 30 minutes to do a tooth movement setup. So of course, there's again the financial investment. Scanners are not cheap. Intraoral scanners are not cheap. Your 3D printers are not cheap. And then of course the time, and you know, for your all the things that you need are really a huge investment for this. And then I had to invest in specialized staffing to help handle all this. I have a guy in my office he's our digital specialist. He does all of the digital technology, handles all the digital technology. There's a lot of moving large files around, you know, back and forth between, say, the printer and, you know, computers. And this guy's just brilliant with all of that. So he keeps us highly efficient and productive. So it's really interesting to look at how aligners have impacted the industry. And I think that in recent days, years, aligners have really become a huge hot topic. We have a lot of future business models that I like to call them that are popping up. Of course, we like to consider or call them direct-to-consumer models. These direct-to-consumer models are there. They've made a huge impact on the industry versus our traditional model. The in-office, patient comes to the office, receives treatment from a doctor and a staff, that model. So I've taken a really close look at this because I like to see this as a full spectrum. If you vision a spectrum in your mind, there's a huge segment of those people, 80% of those people, 90% maybe, some people say even more, that are still being treated in that traditional spectrum. But there's these direct-to-consumer companies have shown us that there is a segment of the population that is willing to receive treatment virtually. And these people are there. You can't ignore them because it has proven to be a large market. So I see this as an area that has a lot of potential. The state boards are looking at how people receive care when it comes to aligner therapy. And the landscape is evolving. It is evolving right now as we see it. Recently, as late as October the 17th of 2019, there was new state law that was passed in California that actually makes laws around telehealth and telemedicine. These laws in specific are looking at providing protection for patients in this regard, and how we utilize all of these things around aligners and access of care. So in California, they made a new law that says that the treating dentist name, license number, and dental board should include all this contact information for the doctor. Review of the patient's most recent dental x-rays prior to the beginning of orthodontic treatment. Patient examination, including completion of medical and dental history and diagnosis and treatment plan must be completed, and recourse of the patient. The patient has to have recourse, and if in case there's something happens. So, in looking at all these things, I really took all this into consideration before I decided to take my in-house model a step further. So in mid 2019, I launched a company by the name of Atlanta Clear. Atlanta Clear is, let me see how I can share this. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm gonna try to share another screen with you. So Atlanta Clear is a aligner company, all aligner company, that allows patients to receive, we leverage technology basically to allow patients to have fewer office visits. And the company that we started basically is it's a company that is doctor guided. We're making sure that the patients are always followed by an orthodontist. We're using telemedicine. We're using a program by the name of dental monitoring that allows the patient to be tracked as the treatment goes along. We think that's very important when it comes to making sure that we do our part in making sure the patients receive adequate care. Here are a couple of things here in the, also we have chat to make sure that patients can have close communication with us, so forth and so on. Here's a little bit about the dental monitoring piece. I'm pretty sure you guys know about dental monitoring. And then also the GP Ortho tracker, tracking company that is out there as well. But we have to have ways, guys, to have patients have contact with the provider. I wanted to, in closing, I really want to say that I believe that dentists and orthodontists need to step up. I think that we need to make sure that we continue to be the major influencers in the social determinants of health in our profession. I think that while we can leverage technology and we can use all of these tools to give patients other options for access of care, I think that we never need to let technology take the place of humanity. So that is how I got into aligners, clear aligner therapy. That's what I'm doing currently in my offices, and currently right now in my aligner centers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fisher. That was fantastic. We're just so proud of you. I can't wait to see your Atlantic Clear office when I come out to AAO in May. So.
You know what, Amanda, if you, so back here, guys, I'm sitting actually in a virtual waiting room for our aligner center.
What? That's
yes.
Not happening?
Yes, this is our, so behind me on the green screen is a scan bay. And this is one of our locations. In this location, we have 2 scan bays that mirror each other. And each scan bay is about 10 by 10. And this one is connected to a orthodontic office, one of my offices. So we can do a case that needs IPR and additional ortho procedures.
That is incredible. Who would have known? So yes, thank you so much. All right. We're going to go ahead and segue and transition into Mike and Manny with Yankee Tech Digital and also with clearmoves.com. And they're going to tell us more about tech. They're going to tell us about outsourcing and what some of your options are. Mike and Manny, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Amanda, and I appreciate everybody being here. Let me just share our screen here for one moment. So as we mentioned before, my name is Michael Kennedy. I have my co-founder and business partner, Manny Ramirez, and we own Clear Moves, which is an invisible aligner consultant company, and Yankee Tech Digital that we deal with all the components necessary to do the clear aligners. We've been in business well over 12 years, but we've been doing the digital technology for over 12 years. We got into Clear Moves aligning. We've been consulting for quite some time, helping doctors over the years with getting the right technology to do in-house aligners. We've had experience in digital dentistry and x-ray integration for well over 20 years each, so probably 40 years combined. And we've traveled all over the world kind of looking for the best solutions. We've been to different countries seeing what do they have as far as technologies for intraoral scanners, for printers, what works, what doesn't work. There's been a lot of intraoral scanners that have been on the market that are no longer on the market, a lot of 3D printers that have been on the market that are no longer there. And it's one thing that we have to be very cautious when we're looking at this type of technology to make sure that we have the right accuracy when we're doing procedures, whether you're doing scanning for ortho, whether you're doing scanning for general practice. And I know that there's probably going to be some general practitioners out here. You have to look at the technology that can do both for you. Some scanners do a wonderful job with scanning for ortho, but not such a great job when you're trying to do intricate things such as implants and crown and bridge. So that's kind of how we developed where we're at today. And we wanted to get into, kind of backing up what Dr. Fisher said, what is the cost of invisible aligners? And you look at, is it $5, $10, $15, $20? Is it $200 per aligner? And you look at it in that it's really dependent upon how much you're willing to do in-house. As Dr. Fisher said, it takes a lot of time. And the way I do that is you look at it, can it be made for $10 in the office? Absolutely. Can it be $15? Sure. And I say $200 per aligner because we look at the opportunity cost of that as well. And you say, okay, what is it really costing me to not be in the chair to either do the treatment planning and to kind of monitor my staff? And some doctors are extremely efficient at doing it, and it makes sense for them to do it, and that's perfect. And we've helped a lot of those doctors out over the time. But it really does look at it. We've had some doctors say, look, it's taking away from my quality of life. I'm spending the majority of my time treatment planning when I could be with my family, or I could be treating another patient, doing a higher dollar procedure, or I could be spending time marketing or promoting my practice. You look at additional considerations. Dr. Fisher said, he has somebody that's wonderful in his office that does a lot of his digital processing. You have to make sure that you can depend on those staff to be there, because if they're not, it does lead to downtime in the practice, which is something to consider. Obviously, I'm not trying to paint a negative picture, but these are costs that are involved when you're looking at what do I do in the office. So most importantly, we found that you really need to align yourself with professionals to help assist in the process, whether it's reaching out to Dr. Fisher and definitely speaking to Dr. Wilson about what to do, how to do it. We find that doctors that are trying to do it on their own, they may have gone to a wonderful seminar on how to do aligners and the technology that you need, and they buy all this technology and they get to the point where, what do I do? I'm stuck. How do I do this? So you really need to have the right systems in place to monitor and audit your treatment, as the other doctors have said on the webinar already, and that's paramount to make sure that you're getting the case done and it's tracked properly and the patient's getting optimal care from you and your staff.
Right. I think it's very important to understand that there is a lack of trained professionals in the field that understand this type of technology and how to implement it and make it efficient, right? And I believe that that's why we're into this, to enhance the doctor's ability to provide the services to those patients. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Correct. No. So you look at different industry, some of the problems that we see out there, and it's not, direct to consumer really isn't a problem. I mean, it really helped bring to light the fact that clear aligners are out there. But what we see is, a lot of unmonitored patient care, and this is not with the large company. There's a lot of smaller companies that are out there that we've seen, and we're just kind of cringing in how they're going about it. So there are some definitely direct to consumer systems that are out there that do a great job, but we look at it and we say, okay, how can we do this better? A lot of third-party aligner solutions or companies that are out there producing the aligners that are not being monitored. They don't have FDA certification, and we're looking at what is the quality that they're doing. So if you're going to outsource, these are important factors to consider, making sure that whoever's doing the treatment planning, whoever's manufacturing the final product has a certification, because it has to be accurate, because this is what you're putting in your patient's mouth, obviously. As well, and there's a lack of companies out there that really understand the white label manufacturing. So this is a perfect webinar to be on with Dr. Wilson and some of the other panelists that are here, because they have done this, and we have a gentleman that does the marketing. He'll be speaking later. I think that's a wonderful kind of platform to be in today.
Right. It's important. The marketing piece is it's vital to the livelihood of the practice, right? And I think that he's going to expand on that. Yes. So yeah, as a company, we provide 360-degree service, or what we call concierge solution, and we can provide different levels of services depending on what the doctor needs from us, from consulting to manufacturing. We can provide the equipment, the materials that they need in the office, as well as also providing the digital workflow, right? A lot of times people don't understand how to move from point A to point B. And we have taken the time to work with some of our KOLs, or key opinion leaders, to kind of perfect that process, right? And so through that, we have learned some best practices in how to follow certain procedures. Mike, so go to the next. So we identify 4 possible scenarios, which are described here, and we can go in more depth if you prefer, but obviously you have the full in-office, like Dr. Fisher indicated. He's taken the time to learn how to do the whole process, right? But then you have the other, which you outsource completely everything, right? Where you say, I have a scanner, give me a treatment plan, and now give me an aligner that I can put on my patients. Then you have different variations where you can either just design and we can manufacture, or the other way around, where we just manufacture and you design. Next, Mike. You go ahead.
So Clear Moves is one of our companies that, like I said, we established some time ago just because we felt that there was a need in there. There's companies that do design, there's companies that do manufacturing, but we have a whole kind of, like we said, 360 concierge service that we have a web portal that brings everything into play and kind of finishes the entire process. We have no minimum, no requirement, no hidden fees when we do that. It is dentist controlled, meaning that you have the ability to speak with the designer to, perfect what you want to do. You approve it and it's monitored throughout the process. And we help in that process by the use of our portal and the use of speaking with some of our consultants online as far as who's done the treatment plan and so on and so forth. So basically, a couple different ways that we do it. We can do the treatment planning and the doctor can do in-house manufacturing. Basically, you scan kind of down here, you scan, you upload your digital records, you get the design, you approve it, you make the payment, and then the digital file download goes to your office. It gets uploaded into your 3D printer, and then from there you take over, do the thermoforming, the cutting, polishing to get to the final product.
Yeah, and later on, Mike, if you go back to this, I'm going to talk to you briefly about our new dental aligner trimmer. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. The next step would be the full concierge service. So you're giving it, whether it's our company or some other company, the ability to help you with this, and why it's a little different from a lot of the larger companies that are out there. We're small enough to care and large enough to deliver. It's extremely important when you're dealing with a company to manufacture your aligners or to do the design. There's not a disconnect there, and we help in that process. So again, in this, you upload your digital records. The treatment plan gets approved. And what's important in this is we have a pay-as-you-go invisible aligner ordering process. So if you want to do 2 or 3 stages, or if the patient can only make payments in 2 or 3 stages, that's an ability that you have with us. And as far as you don't need to have the entire case printed where you might need to do a mid-course correction or 2 corrections, and then all those aligners that have been produced for the entire case are now have to be destroyed. We do facilitate the manufacturing. Our manufacturers are FDA certified, 510K certified, and we complete that process of the communication, the documentation. Everything is within the portal, so you see from beginning to end where your case is at, where it's been, and then once it's delivered. As well as this, we have custom white labeling options, I should say, so that you can label everything from start to finish, from the bags to the little containers that the patients can keep their aligners in, is quite in detail, but we'll let the pros at the marketing kind of get into that later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, and that's kind of a picture of what our aligner system look like. They're all highly customizable. They have a custom trim. They all have a laser marking for traceability and FDA approval. And also we're using Sendura plastic, which is possibly one of the best plastics in the market. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Amanda Wilson can attest to that. But we want to work with the best materials available in the market. So go ahead, Mike.
So basically, this is our site. It's pretty simplistic. The doctor kind of sets up an account and moves forward from there. We're just giving you a kind of a brief overview of entering a case here. It's pretty simplistic, but it shows basically how the whole web portal system works, from the treatment planning to the putting in the entire case, whether you have files, pictures, you have a pano or a cone beam that you want to put in there as well to help facilitate the treatment plan processing. We've been told that our web portal is extremely user-friendly, and it doesn't require a lot of technical knowledge to get into it.
Right, and we continue. One of the things that is important to talk about is that we're always in constant pursuit of a better system, and we're always programming, developing, and coming up with new ideas and systems to make it more user-friendly for the doctors.
Exactly. So, we talk about whether you do it on your own or not, having this to facilitate it, whether you want to do one portion of it or not, is really important to keep track of where it's at, how it was done, what materials are used to produce it. And this keeps it all in one concise, kind of package, if you will. So I won't get too far into this, but you can see we have little tags here that kind of lets the doctor know where they are in that process. And there's comments and communication between the doctor and the lab itself, or between the doctor and the manufacturer as well. Once that's completed, we talked about pay-as-you-go ordering. You have the ability to order in stages, so you can choose here how many you want to do in order to kind of move forward. If you want to do the first 6 stages of 12, you can do that. And then before the 4th stage is done, you just order the next set.
And that is very advantageous in many reasons, right? Because the doctor doesn't have to come out with the full amount to pay for the treatment planning, and it gives them time to kind of track the case and make modifications to the case, and then print the next aligners according to the treatment planning.
And
Right.
real quick, I want to jump in because I don't think if everyone understands like the brilliance of what you just developed, but this is basically how DTC gets their clients, because they allow them to pay as they go. They pay a little bit and they get a few aligners, and they pay a little bit more and a few more aligners come. And now you can have, this is the only aligner company right now that's going to let you do that. Invisalign doesn't let you do that. You got to pay $1,863 right up top, or even for light, you got to pay $1,200 right up top. This is incredible. Now you can really offer this to your maybe, lower income patients in your office, and offer them aligners without having to take the hit on the lab fee. I love it. Thank you so much for doing that, you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's a great point, because we do have doctors that are in different areas where, they want to provide this system for them. It's hard for them to compete with the direct to consumer, or it was harder for them. And this actually puts it into the patient's hands, and the patient can pay as you go as well. Obviously, if you're doing attachments or IPR, it's a little bit of a different situation, but it really allows more of the doctor's patients to get this treatment.
Well, and typically, you have to make the investment to make this happen, right? Because if you really wanted to go pay as you go, you will have to have the knowledge and the equipment and the process. Now, all you really need to have is just a scanner and send us the information, and we can provide you as we go.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So from here, we look at the integration. We have integration currently with the Medit i500 that Dr. Fisher spoke about, and the 3Shape intraoral scanner. So that actually gets integrated right inside our software. Obviously, we can take scans from any other scanner that's out on the market. This is just a more simplistic way to do it. So we don't, we're not like some of the other scanner companies or aligner companies out there that restrict you. It's a totally open system. We're allowed to, we can accept all scanners currently, but right now we have direct integration with these two.
And without getting too deep into it, obviously the folks that have a 3Shape scanner now they can utilize it to a good use.
That's great. They need some good news.
So as we said at the beginning, we do offer all the products that kind of go along with making aligners. Currently, right now, we do offer the Medit i500. Dr. Fisher mentioned he has one of those as well. And we just wanted to kind of let the folks know we are offering a special to all the StraightSmile Solutions folks that are on the webinar. It's kind of an extremely low price of $15,000, but we want to offer it to the folks on the webinar until January 24th is kind of when it is.
That's an awesome deal. And we're going to be segueing quickly into Dr. Moorhead and Phil with GP Ortho Tracking and Smile More Aligners, but they also have a Medit, just to let you know. So
Oh, fantastic.
it's very popular.
Yeah, great to know. Here's some of the other digital processing equipment that Dr. Fisher went over. We offer pretty much everything that's needed. One of the new systems that we've found, I believe Manny was talking about this before, but we now have the ability to help in mass production of in-house manufacturing with a new auto trimming machine that we've kind of vetted, and we're still looking at it, so it's coming soon. But for doctors looking to do in-house, this is kind of key.
Well, this is a game changer because, I mean, we've done some studies, and it takes even a person that is being cutting and polishing aligners they can cut anywhere from 5 to 6 aligners per hour. With this, you can actually cut anywhere from 20 to 25 aligners almost ready to put in the patient's mouth. So that can actually reduce the time that it takes to deliver cases for those folks who are producing a lot of aligners.
That is awesome. And that's the part I hate most about in-house aligners. So it's great.
It
And
takes
I
a
have
long
a demo
time.
video on this. If anybody wants to see it, just let me know.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, I think at this time we kind of gave you a general overview of what we've done and what we do. We're happy to help consult and chat with anybody that's interested in kind of learning more. So we appreciate Dr. Amanda Wilson bringing us in on the webinar and everybody that's here
Absolutely.
today.
Yes,
Thank you
Dr.
so much for
Wilson.
being on. All right. And we can also answer Q&As at the end, or you can go ahead and contact these vendors directly. You can email me and I'll be glad to connect you. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and segue over to Dr. Moorhead and Phil Michael with gporthotracking.com and Smile More Aligners.
Hi,
Take it away, gentlemen.
thanks so much for having us, Amanda. We're excited to be here to share our, some information that we have. Basically, I'm a general dentist in Cincinnati, and I began doing clear aligners approximately two years ago. We do most of the process in-house. We actually outsource the design aspect of the clear aligners, and then we manufacture them in-house. And one of the things that I was seeing that was a problem in our office is that lack of compliance and lack of tracking. And I hired Amanda, and we started talking about these problems, and she offered a potential solution through another company that offers some tracking. And the price point to us was very high, and it also seemed like a little bit more from what we're wanting to get. So a general manager, Phil, who'll be talking here in just a minute, him and I put our minds together, and we came up with a very simple software that we use to keep track of patients in our office that are going through treatment. As some others have talked about before, one of the downsides of the direct-to-consumer is just the patient not feeling like they have a contact with a doctor. They're kind of on their own doing it. So this way, it's a win for the patient and a win for us. For us, we just with this software, we don't really have to see the patient unless it's a true problem that needs to be seen. And so less visits to our office is more productive dentistry, and also less visits for the patient. I kind of just felt silly sometimes having people in and just 2 seconds saying yes, when we could just do that from home. So it's definitely a selling feature to our product, and I'm going to turn it over to Phil, who could talk more about the technology itself.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. What's great is we get to work together implementing this software. We created it for the practice, and we just felt, along with Amanda's cheerleading, thank you for that, that it could be used by others as well. It's really easy to use. The patient goes online. They can go on their mobile phone. It's a HIPAA compliant site. And what we try to do is we white label it to the practice that's using it. So when the patient goes on the website, they upload a few photos. Let me screen share here and show you a little bit of what it looks like. All right, so this is Moorhead Family Dentistry, who we are. And a patient will go in using a mouth retractor that the doctor will provide. The starting of a patient. They go in, fill in their name, their email address, phone number, and then they upload photos. They can do this on their mobile device really easily. Select from your camera roll, and then if there's any notes or questions, and submit. And what happens from there is the doctor gets an email. So the benefit of this is that the patient does it on their time. As Mike was saying, for the doctor, there's opportunity cost with chair time. So you're able to keep the patient out of the chair. They think they're winning. The doctor thinks they're winning. And this works with any clear aligner solution. It also works with phase 1. And whether you're DIY or full outsourcing, you need to make sure the aligners that you're providing to the patient are really staying on track. That's how everything progresses.
I could talk just a little about what practically I do when I receive the email from GB Ortho Tracking. I can take a look at the photos just from my phone, and then depending on how things are looking, I give the patient a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs down meaning, all right, we may need to back it up, use the Chewies or for 3 more days and then check in again, or thumbs up, go ahead, move on to the next aligner, keep on going. It also works in our office as a trigger or to manufacture the next set of aligners for the patient. So as we were talking about before, we don't have to manufacture them all up at the beginning. That way, if something's off track and we need to redo some design in the middle, then we haven't wasted all that resin. And so that's just how it works is in our particular workflow in our office. So it's been just an easy way to track people and just delegate out responsibilities for the assistants and for the treatment coordinators to contact the patient. So it's worked out really well. We're excited about now being able to offer it to other people.
That's great. Awesome. I actually have a question that came up, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it now. A couple questions. So the first question is actually going to be for Mike and Manny. What happens if you don't have a intraoral scanner yet, but you want to get started with the white label process and maybe not invest in any equipment yet? What do we do?
So good question. It's a tough one because you look at the accuracy that some of the impressions that we get. We currently don't. We only work with offices currently that have a digital scanner. We're working with another doctor that will take your scan, that will take the impression and actually scan it and send it to us. So that's kind of in the beta form right now. But for the time being, we only accept digital scans at the moment. But we are finding that there's a little more accuracy. Well, there's quite a bit more accuracy when it's digitally scanned. So for us, we're working with that third-party solution right now.
Right, and that kind of delays the process of providing, a treatment planning for the doctors, right? So, it's the element that they have to be, have to pour the models, they have to digitize it, they have to articulate them. So all that process takes a while, and then we are working with this doctor so we can put them into our platform so that he can directly put the files that we need in order to do the assessment.
And what we found, and not to push our company, not to push our product, but what we found is by the time, they take that impression and have it digitized from somebody else, and if they're doing multiples within the month, it's honestly cheaper to, we have financing options for the office to buy the scanner, because don't forget you have the impression material that you're using, the time that it's going to take, then you have to ship it out, and then you have to pay for the digitization of it. So it's almost cheaper. We had a couple doctors that found that it was a lot cheaper to just finance a digital scanner and put it into their office and use it for other purposes, not just for aligners.
Everything. And it's such a better patient experience. And actually the error risk, it goes way down because things are just more accurate. Things are going to turn out better.
Yeah.
On that note, real quick, I'm going to ask another question this is going to go to Dr. Moorhead and also Dr. Fisher. And then I think I kind of cut off Dr. Moorhead and Phil, so they might want to do their, how to contact them. But real quick for Dr. Moorhead and Dr. Fisher, the question was, we know that Dr. Moorhead is using the Medit. We know Dr. Fisher, I think, is using Medit and iTero. Can you both briefly tell us the benefits, costs, which one you like better, why you like it? There's benefits to both, but certainly one is a lot more expensive to the other. I'll start with Dr. Fisher and then we'll go to Dr. Moorhead.
Sure, absolutely. In terms of a 3D scanner, you have to consider its accuracy. Your appliance is only as good as your, the impression or your scan. Even with the 3D scanner, you can have a bad appliance fabricated. So the scanners have to be detailed. They have to be accurate. I like either the iTero. The Medit does a great job also of capturing the scan as well. But I think it's imperative that you have a scanner in your office.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. And Dr. Moorhead?
Yeah, the Medit is actually the first intraoral scanner that I've owned, and I can't say enough about it. I really love it. It seems to have every element that you could possibly want in a intraoral scanner. The accuracy, as far as I can tell, been great for me. I've really had no major issues, and so it's even though it's like half the cost of what some of the others are at. I think it's still it's a very great product, and I like the fact that it's open source. We can easily do what we want with the STL files, and we don't have to go through any other company. There was also no monthly fee for it, so that's a big factor as well, that when you're looking at a scanner.
And then Manny, I see you're on. Can you tell us a little bit about Medit training? And then also there's a little hack, and I don't know how much you know about it. What if you want to send a case to Invisalign with the Medit? What do you recommend? Or I can bounce that one to
Unfortunately, there hasn't been an easy transition or way to send files other than the iTero. And there are different ways of kind of circumventing the system, but in reality, it's more difficult. And I think the time that it takes to take the impression, digitize it, and send it to Invisalign, you might as well invest on an intraoral scanner, especially for the general dentist, right? Because the general dentist can use it not only for clear aligners, but they can use it for a host of other procedures, such as crown and bridge and implant restoration. So the investment is well worth it, no doubt. Now, as far as we actually are always trying to find the best cost for the aligners, because our mission is to make it easy for the doctors to provide patient treatment planning, right? And we have various ways that we can provide training for the doctors. Obviously, we can do remote training, and our support. I mean, I take pride in saying that whenever somebody buys something from us, we'll do the very best we can to help them get from point A to point B, and they always have our support. So that's without a question. When we got into this business, we understood the lack of support from these companies, and that's what we emphasize on. Mike?
And real quick, it's paramount that we found. I mean, that's why Manny and I got into this so many years ago, is we found a disconnect between somebody selling you the product and somebody supporting it post-sale. There's a lot of people that are great at selling it, and then the doctor's on their own, and then when they try to reach out to the companies, they're either on hold for forever or nobody's there to help them along with the process. And that's really the difference between companies.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'll tell you my hack for Invisalign, just because I don't know if you guys can legitimately say it, but this is what people I know do, is that if they have a Medit, let's say, and they want to send to Invisalign, they're going to go ahead and scan. You need to get your own 3D printer. You print out your horseshoe model, then you take a PVS impression of your model and you throw it in the box. So that way the patient doesn't know that they're not being scanned when they are being scanned. And I mean, you don't lose too much in the accuracy, and Invisalign doesn't know. So that's my hack. But anyways, real quick, I got one more question, and then let's make sure that Phil and Doug get a chance to give us their contact information, just in case anyone has any questions on GP Ortho tracking. But one last question first, to both Dr. Moorhead and Dr. Fisher again. Tell us a little bit in your practice about what components of the 3D print or the white label process are doctor driven, and what components are done by assistants. I mean, of course, I realize you're in different states and there's different Dental Practice Act laws, but tell us a little bit, just real quick, high level, how's your workflow? I'll go ahead and start with Dr. Fisher.
So our workflow in the office is the assistants actually are taking the scans. Once the assistant takes the scan, they do enter it into the tooth movement software. At that point, I take over and I actually do my own tooth movement setup using the StraightSmile platform. And then it goes out, those STL files and then go out to our digital technician, and he packages those things, and he sends them in an email to our digital lab where we 3D print those. And my lab technician actually fabricates the aligners.
That's great. Awesome. And then Dr. Moorhead, tell us a little bit about how you do it in your office.
Yeah, not quite as involved as Damien because we're probably not doing nearly the volume he is. But right now, I outsource the design, as I said earlier, and then I do the 3D printing, and then my assistant takes over from there. She'll do the rinsing and curing, and then making the aligners and packaging them and having them ready for the patient, depending on how the patient wants to. Sometimes we'll mail out the aligners. Sometimes we'll ask if they want to just pick them up in office. And so that's basically how we're doing.
Can you tell us how to contact you for GP Ortho tracking?
And part of that question asking is done with the Ortho tracking software. Yeah, so some of that process is done with the GP Ortho tracking as well. When a patient goes in and fills out, they can tell us it's their last aligner and how they'd like to receive their next. Do they want us to mail it to them? Do they want to come into the office and pick it up themselves? And so to get in contact with us with the GP Ortho tracking, simply go to our website, and what you're able to do is either click on demo and see a demo of our process, and that'll get us your contact information, or you can just go to the contact page there, fill out any questions you might have. We're working on getting some great FAQ questions done via video so you can understand how it fits in the process and what that can look like for your practice.
Awesome. Very cool. And then, do you have your email as well, or do you want to send them to go to, oh, this
Yeah,
is
you can me directly. It's Phil, P-H-I-L, at gporthotracking.com.
Great. All right, and it looks like there's Dr. Fisher's contact information, and I believe Dr. Fisher and Dr. Moorhead are both available for consulting. They can go over some of their fees if you want to launch white label aligners in your practice. They both help with that too. So feel free to reach out to them or contact me if you have questions. Dr. Moorhead and Phil, did you have anything else in your presentation? Sorry if I cut you off a little bit.
It's actually so simple. I think we covered it all. It's really just a piece of the puzzle that we like to, we've solved, we feel, on our end, and we think could be a solution for others.
Perfect. All right. Then without further ado, I didn't want to forget, got last, but definitely is best. We've got good marketing with Jonathan Strasberg, and he's going to tell us more about, now that you've got this process in place and the procedures and the technology, what do you do with it? Now you need patients. So Jonathan, take it away. And when we're all done,
Been here for a little bit. So I am Jonathan Schlossberg, one of the founders of Good Marketing, and I have the pleasure of working with Amanda. So thank you for bringing on here. And really what we do is we bring good businesses, good customers, good patients. And that is our goal. And, we have for the past 6 months been really driving a lot towards Dr. Amanda. Also, Dr. Damien, we're working with him with Atlanta Clear. So the website you saw, we actually created that for his company, and we're in the process of launching. We've got his social media running, and we have a lot of really exciting stuff coming in the pipeline for really exploding Atlanta Clear in the Atlanta area. So what I really want to talk about here is, so I've been doing this for a while. I'll give you a little backstory, like 60 seconds, and then I want to jump in with stuff that you can actually take and implement. That will make a big difference. So you'll walk out of here having some marketing strategies for you, because you could have everything that everybody's talking about, but if you don't have the strategies behind it, you're kind of dead in the water. So I've been in this industry for 8 years now, and our primary focus are SEO and Facebook ads. We also do YouTube ads, and it's really about client customer lead and acquisition and conversion into patients and purchases. And so we do that through a number of ways. My wife and I founded the company together. She is the lead strategist and content creator, and I am more of the technical implementer running the Facebook ads and managing the team. If you all have any questions for me, drop them in the chat. But what I really want to do right now is I want to dive into this. I want you all to really get something out of it. And so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to talk about the 3 simple steps to Facebook ads to keep your patient pipeline filled and becoming one of the pros. And this is so important because I know a lot of businesses think, And they're like, it doesn't work, it costs too much money, it doesn't work. And the fact is it works really well. It works incredibly successfully if you're properly implementing it. And so some of the things you'll take away from this are going to really, really help you. And if you're not, you're now going to have more confidence to actually do it. So how to become one of the pros. You want to make sure that your pixel is on your website. You want to retarget your site visitors. You want to make an offer to your audience and send emails to your list. And then you will never have to worry about running out of patients to treat, because all this information that everybody has been talking about, it's so great and it's so important, and you all are feeling such an amazing need. And, I loved on that one side that Dr. Amanda was saying, like, if you do this, you can do more of what you want. If you're not having the people sitting in the chair, what are you going to do? How are you driving the people to your business? Are you hoping for word of mouth? Are you actively doing any marketing? Are you able to track metrics? Are you doing direct mail where you're hoping somebody calls? There's a lot of different ways. And the reason I point on that, and I'll give you a quick example, I have a very good friend that's a business owner, has a pool company. He had a partner with a pool service like product business that the manager sent him everybody. And overnight when the manager left, because he had never done marketing, his lead source dried up and he didn't know what he was going to do. So I always say, make sure you put, your fishing rod out there and put your line in a number of different ways. So you're constantly always having leads come towards you to fill your chairs. That's something Dr. Amanda has done really well. She's constantly putting stuff out there to drive to her business. So let's jump into this. Pros. Pixel your website. What is a pixel? A pixel is a snippet of code that you get actually from Facebook, and you put it on your website. And what it essentially does is it becomes like a little tracking beacon. Anybody that visits your website will then get a little piece of the code snippet put onto their computer, and then you can follow them around the internet everywhere. And you've experienced this. I'm going to kind of go into it and show you a little bit more, but this is your Facebook Ads Manager. And this is where you would go to find it. If you've never been there, you go to business.facebook.com. If you haven't set it up, it's easy to set up. I'm not going to take that much time to go into this today. If you have any questions, you're welcome to message me and ask me this. And I am talking really fast. So I know Dr. Amanda is going to put the replay out for this. So pause it, rewind, listen to it. But you have your ads manager where all this is where you create your ads and the campaigns and everything that goes with it. And to find your pixel up in the hamburger menu, up in the top, there's a little word called pixels, and it'll show you there. And what you do is you create it, and it looks something like this. And I don't even know what this means, but it's your pixel, and you put it on the header, in the header of your website. And if you're using WordPress, download the plugin, header and footer post injections, and then you just copy this code and put it into your header. The way you know it's working is if you're using Chrome, add the Chrome extension, Facebook Pixel Helper. You install the Chrome extension, and then once you've put this code in, you go to your site, and up in the extension bar, if it's grayed out, it's going to be no pixel. But as soon as it turns blue, you know that the pixel is on there. And it's really cool because I'm sure you all have a bunch of competitors out there in your local markets where you can find out all the other companies that you're competing against if they have a pixel on their site. If they don't have a pixel on their site, you know they're not running ads, and you have the opportunity to corner the market. And even if their pixel is on the site, doesn't mean they're necessarily running ads. So it's really powerful for you, for your business, to be able to get in front of people again, but also to find out what other people are doing. So that's Facebook Pixel Helper and header and footer post injections as the plugin. Now, retargeting your visitors. What exactly is retargeting? Well, somebody goes to visit your site, you've now tracked them, right? You put the little homing beacon on them like you're a little spy, and put them in the little collar, and you can follow around wherever they are. And you've experienced this. You've gone to a website, and then all of a sudden you're like, why are they following me around everywhere? And so I'm going to show you an example. So I went to nectarsleep.com. We're looking for a new bed. I went to Nectar Sleep. And I want to point this out. This is not creepy. This is just an incredibly affordable way for you to stay front of mind, but B, also to market to your potential customers and patients for like incredibly cheap pennies on the dollar. So I went to this website. As you can see right here, this thing right here in the top where it has the number 3, if you can see it, that's the pixel helper. It has 3 pixels, so they're tracking a bunch of different things. Well, then later I went to Facebook and look what pops up in my feed. They're retargeting me because they know that I'm actually going to their website, right? So now I'm seeing all about Nectar. What other companies can do is like other mattress companies can target me because based on interest that they may show me. So I might start getting ads from Purple or any other mattress company as well. And so that's really powerful because now they've been to your website, they're interested, but you know, most people, it takes 6 to 12 touches before they actually pull the trigger on something. Here's one touch right there, and email's another touch. So you can continue to show them this, a different video, something else, a few different things, and you're continuing to stay in front of them until they're comfortable and feel like they know, like, and trust you and want to use your services, want to come visit you. And it is incredibly, incredibly powerful for you in your business. Next, offer to your audience. What are you going to present to them? So you've got your pixel, you want to run an ad, you want to offer something to it. It's kind of like a horse chasing a carrot. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what do you send to them? And so you actually get the choice of to create ads directly what you want to do. Let's say you're doing clear aligners. Are you offering free teeth whitening with it? Are you offering $200 off? You have to decide something that's going to get people to click and show interest in your ad. So you want to make a very clear, specific offer to them, and you only want to offer them one thing. You don't want to confuse them. Well, if you do this, if you click the ad, you're going to get this and this and this. No, just make it very simple, very clear. So you'll see these are some other ads that you'll see. This one is retargeting me because I went on their site. Obviously, you can tell I was looking at beds. They weren't putting a big offer. They were just kind of saying, hey, do you want a 1-year sleep trial? This one was with a little video and you get to do 100 nights free. This is an orthodontics talking about the pain points of why you would want to use it. Or another, Puffy, 100-night free trial. Here's their offer. Get $300 off Puffy. You all probably know Smile Love. Here's theirs. Save $400 on their aligner bundle, and then it gives you the bonuses. And so you're going to do this, and with these, you're going to drive towards connecting with the lead. And so you're going to drive these leads to go into your email. And that's where you start sending emails because you want to control the data. You want to control the relationship of the conversation. So if you aren't collecting potential leads and potential patients' information, I would highly suggest start doing it. Whether you're sending an email once a week, once a month, every day, that's completely up to you. I would definitely say to stay front of mind at least once a month, send a newsletter, a good tip or something to them. And these are different mail service providers. Some are a little bit more techno-y. A lot of people I know love MailChimp. It's really easy and it's on the more simple side if you're just getting started. Plus any lead that you're collecting through Facebook, you will automatically be able to drop into here based upon some integrations. And then they can go on an automatic sequence, which you've all experienced when you've signed up for a list before. So it's really powerful because that's another touch. Or if you're sending them, an email a day for 3 days because they showed interest, that's 3 more. So how do you stay in front of them? How do you make them choose you? It's really important to think about. And then finally, do not use Gmail as your email address. If you have a company and you're doing business, like Atlanta Clear with Damien, have your email address be Dr. Fisher at, hello at, smiles at, whatever it is. But don't use Gmail. It just lessens the brand. It lessens the quality. Plus, when you're using these email providers, the deliverability just plummets when you're using Gmail. They don't like to deliver because they want you to use something with a custom domain. And this leads me into keeping your pipeline filled, right? This is one of the biggest things when it comes to marketing. I know a lot of people are like, what is the lifetime value of your patient? And some know, some don't know. And that's a really important question to ask. And the reason I say that is because I know some people are like, well, I don't want to spend in $2 a lead or $15 a lead or $100 a lead, depending on what it is. But let's throw this example out there. Let's say it's $10 a lead, right? And this is all hypothetical. And it's 1 out of 10 people books an appointment, right? And out of 10 people, out of 10 bookings, you get 1 lifetime patient, right? So 1 lead is $10. 10 leads get you someone in the door, right? You get them in. So that's $100, right? But you're spending $100 to get somebody in the door and sit in your chair. But of 10 of those, 1 is a lifetime patient. So it costs you $1,000 to acquire a lifetime patient. And this is all made up. But what if the value of a lifetime patient, and I know in the dental industry it's pretty high, is $5,000, $6,000, $10,000? Are you willing to put $10 a lead, knowing it's going to cost you $100 to get them in the seat, $1,000 for a lifetime patient that you know you're going to bring in $5,000, $10,000 plus the referrals they're going to bring into you? That's what's powerful. It's not the cost per lead. It's what you get on the lifetime value of the person that comes in and uses your services over and over. And that is one of the powers that with Facebook marketing, you can get in front of thousands of people a day, every day, with your message, with who you are, with what you want to put forth. And so I want to kind of just show you some results. And so these are for some clients of mine, 23 leads in 24 hours. You can see this is January 8th. So this is this year. This is all between 24 hours at like 2 o'clock, almost 3 o'clock on the 7th to like 4 o'clock on the 8th. 23 leads driven to them with people showing interest. Here's another new on the 6th to the 7th, 23 more leads. Here we have, and this is just showing you the inside of Facebook. This is actually where we run leads and we do testing and all of that. And this is a lot more deep, but you'll see, if you can see, cost per lead, 131 leads at $2.92, $3, $5, $7, $9. So you can see, I mean, you can see here, this client has spent $55,000 with 32,000 impressions, which means he can retarget 32,000 people, and he's already gotten 3,600 leads. What would your business look like with a pipeline of 3,600 leads? And here's some more. And so I want you to start thinking about that in terms, because it's different. If you're already using Facebook and you're having success, that's amazing. If you're not, it is such an amazing platform for you today. Between Google and Facebook, those are the largest advertising places for you. And the pond, the sea that you can fish in is so great, and it can be so targeted to exactly what you want that if you're not getting into it, you're missing the boat. And so I wanted to leave you all with that. I want you to make sure that you get your pixel on your site. If you do nothing more than that, because it'll track people for 180 days. So you may not do anything with it today, but you can still retarget people in 3 months, 4 months to the people that went on your site 180 days ago. And so that's amazing. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'd love for you all to join our Facebook group. It's called Masterful Marketing. It's where my wife and I talk about Facebook strategies, little hints and tips. It's, if you search Masterful Marketing and look for the group, it's, or you can just copy this down, facebook.com/groups-masterful marketing. We'd love to have you in there. It'd be amazing to be able to assist you. And then if you want to reach out to us personally, it's Jonathan@whatsgood.co. You'll start laughing when you start realizing we're good marketing. You'll be like, oh, that's good. Oh, wait. And there's our website. So I want to thank Dr. Amanda for having me on here, and all the other doctors that provided such amazing training. It was really great. It almost makes me want to quit what I'm doing and go back to orthodontist school.
We need to. And true disclosure, I brought Jonathan on because he's transformed my own mini practice within a practice. No joke, I hate to admit this, I dropped $20,000 in my first 3 years of doing this on Facebook, trying to do it myself, Facebook ads, and I was screwing them up. So once Jonathan came on, it took so much stress off my plate. It's been fantastic, and trust me, it'll be worth it. I want to show a few books that I like that if you just like to read, and you can buy these like used on Amazon, but this one's really good. Help My Facebook Ads Suck. I read it and I realized it was still too confusing for me, and that's why I hired Jonathan, but read it. Another one that's really good is called The Invisible Selling Machine. I like this one. And he did talk about newsletters. I started doing that a few months ago. MailChimp Unboxed is a really great one. I think this cost me like $2 used off Amazon, but that made a big difference too. I'm really good at making content, but I'm bad at getting it out there in a professional manner. So hence why I outsource. But anyways, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you so much to all of our doctors and our vendors that came on today to provide this amazing content. If you have a friend or someone else in your practice that wants a copy of this video, let me know and I'll be glad to share it. And if you'd like direct introductions to any of the vendors today or any of the other companies that we referenced, we would love to introduce you. So thank you so much. Doesn't look like we have any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out because I know you all need to get back to your patients, but have a fantastic Thursday. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.